Hi, welcome to Intuitive Insights. I am Meghan McDonough, your no BS woo-woo coach. This podcast, Intuitive Insights, is where we take intuition, practical tools for accessing your intuition to hopefully make it a little more grounded and part of your everyday life. So today, I wanted to talk about your internal personalized ChatGPT, aka your intuition. So, and I thought about this recently as a generational thing, as a Gen Xer myself. And I saw this on something and I was like, well, basically that we're the last generation, hybrid generation of pre-internet, post-internet, pre-smartphone, post-smartphone. The Gen Xers, we have the access and experience of playing outside and trusting, when the sun comes down, that means get your butt home before your parents get mad at you. That your friends would just show up at a party, or that you weren't sure who was going to be there, but you trusted they would be. Not knowing where you were going all the time, having to get a roadmap, learn how to use it. And then now having a computer on our arms, in our pockets, to tell us exactly where to go, what to eat, how to do it, literally anything you could ever think of, to ask it a question and let someone else, something else give you an answer. But we're trusting it's true, even though it may or may not be. Right? So I caught myself doing this, to be honest, and realizing that I go to the internet more often than I feel like I should or want to. Should is a long 4-letter word, but I kind of had this moment the other day. I was like, whoa, Meghan, what are you doing? You have and teach intuition and access to intuition. Use it more. So that's what I want to talk about today. So, if you've noticed, people are running to ChatGPT and the web for anything and everything, right? How many times have you caught yourself just being like, oh, I'll just ask the electronic brain, right? How do I solve this? How do I do this? I'll watch a YouTube how-to video. It's just part of our everyday lives now. So yes, it is incredible. And as an ADHDer, sometimes it helps me when I get stuck in my brain to just get me over that hump and move forward. But I also have a very keen connection with my intuition. So that hump moving me forward, I go, oh, okay, great. And then I go back to my intuition. So people are now trusting the algorithm of their computers, of the internet, of ChatGPT, Google, more than they're trusting themselves. You have your own internal ChatGPT. It's your intuition. So it's constantly processing patterns and energy and experience and information from your past, from your environment. What the difference is it doesn't just get popped up on a screen in a second. You have to know how to communicate with it. You have to know how to listen. So how do you listen? That's what I'm going to talk about today. I'm going to give you a couple of quick little tips to help you open yourself up to a higher vibration so that you can hear your intuitive voice a little more clearly. So today I want to talk about how to access your intuitive guidance system, because it's one of the most powerful tools that you have. Okay. Number 1, you got to clear the chatter of the mind. Now, granted, I'm saying this, but it's not like I don't get swept up in it myself. But once you have awareness, you're able to kind of redirect yourself to the path that you would like to be on. So your intuition speaks quietly. It has a very soft voice. Rarely does it ever scream at you. Rarely. So in order to listen to it, the volume of the static of the mind needs to go down. So how do you do that? Well, first of all, we're always analyzing and worrying about the future and replaying conversations from 5, 6, 10 years ago, right? Why didn't I do that? Or why did I do? I don't know about you, but I definitely do that. So notice when the mind gets loud, full of chatter or static, and find some ways to calm it down. Here are some offerings. 1, the body is to the breath as the breath is to the mind. So calm the body by deepening the breath and notice that your mind starts to follow suit. Get some fresh air. Put your feet in the ground, like not in the ground, but like in the grass or the sand. If it's winter, just get outside, have a fresh little of air if you need it. Sometimes it's a little cold for that, but even just a little bit of fresh air and some sunshine can help calm the nervous system and let it know it's safe. Move your body. Exercising is great. I teach yoga. I love yoga. I also love Qigong. I love any kind of movement. But I'll tell you my favorite, when you're alone, we have to do this in private, not because you're worried about people seeing you, but because it's kind of a personal experience. But if you have a time to turn on a song and not know what it is, maybe it's your favorite song, maybe you've never heard it before, and let yourself move however your body wants to. Not how you think you should, how your body wants to move. Make it a game, play with it, have fun, express yourself. That'll clear the mind right up. Pamper yourself, relax. I'm a bath person. I love a good ritual bath where there's candlelights and soft music and bath salts and fabulous smells and just relaxing. If that doesn't feel like pampering to you, figure out what does. Make a list of what feels like pampering to you and check it off your list. That will be your nervous system taking care of itself and being appreciative of taking care of itself. When your nervous system calms down, clarity shows up. Intuition doesn't show up in a chaotic space. It shows up when the waters are clear, when there's space. It shows up when you create space. Number 2, raise your vibration. Intuition flows more easily when your intuition is lifted up and open. Think about it. When you're stressed or depleted, your brain gets foggy, you kind of clench up. Your intuition is the soul's voice. The soul is made of light, and its main frequency is love and all of its sub-frequencies. And how you know it's love and light and intuition is that it is the connecting energy, the reaching out to connect. The opposite side of the coin of that is fear, with all of its sub-frequencies of depression, anxiety, shame, guilt, all those. And all of those energies retract. They make you pull away from others and pull you internally. They separate you. So the energy of love is connection and the energy of fear is separation. And when you're stressed, you most likely want to separate yourself. It is a natural response to protect and give space to your energy, to heal, to breathe. But that's not always why we take it. We take it because we feel like we need to hide sometimes, or whatever it may be. But when you are connected to that love frequency, that outgoing frequency, that connection frequency, the intuitive sparks just start to flare. The voice gets louder. You've cleared space. You've opened up and you're connecting. That's when the intuition starts to rise. And you start to get some intuitive clarity and even some creativity kind of falls around because it's a similar energy, that intuition and creativity. So here are some things you can try to raise your vibration. Surprise yourself every day. What does that mean? I don't know. Surprise yourself. Try something new. Go down a road you've never gone down before. Try a food you've never tried before. Try something new. Widen your experience. Maybe you hate it. Maybe you don't like it. But now you know. Now you surprised yourself and thought, maybe I like this. Now I know I don't. Or the reverse. Maybe I won't like this. And you do. Surprise yourself. Play. Do something that brings you joy every day. If you don't know what brings you joy, make a list. Sit down and make a list of everything that makes you feel like your insides are tickling because you're so excited. And find a practical way that you can do it every day. Like I'm thinking right now, a roller coaster. That's crazy exciting. I'm not doing that every day. But what is it about the roller coaster that makes me excited? It's that feeling of adventure. So how can I take that feeling of adventure? And it's also a little bit of vulnerability, I'd say, like the excitement of being vulnerable and really having to trust and go on that adventure. So what are some practical ways I can do that in my everyday life, right? What makes me feel vulnerable and like I'm on an adventure? For me, that's sharing my writing. It scares the hell out of me. And I have no idea where it's going to go and if I'll survive. But I love it when I'm done, even if it feels horrible. So that's one thing. So find out what it is, what it is that tickles you, why it tickles you, and then see if you can extract that down to something, some tiny practical touch base that you could do every day. So if I can't share my writing every day, maybe I can just write a little bit every day, because that vulnerability and excitement, it takes me on a little adventure. Okay, get excited about the life you're creating. What does that mean? Well, based on all of those wonderful things that you found out about yourself that you love and excite you and that tickle your insides and make you excited, what would your life look like if you had more of that all day long? How exciting would that be? Really feel into it. And then start taking those pieces and do a little bit every day. One of my visuals is I want to have this, I will have this house in the woods. And I don't know what that means or where. I just want to be surrounded by trees and have lots of big windows and somewhere in nature, close to some water source, and in a little garden. I want to see, I love having a garden. I love making my own food. It just makes me happy. So I don't have that house in the woods yet, but I can plant something, even if it's in a pot. And that garners that sense of joy and a step towards my future house in the woods. Joy isn't frivolous. Joy is actually fuel for your intuitive clarity. It's the highest vibration you can have emotionally, is joy. Your intuition loves creativity, curiosity, momentum, and play. Building self-trust, number 3. I did this, but I meant. So, number 3, building self-trust. Your self-trust relationship. Your relationship with self-trust is literally a relationship, just like your relationship to your money is, or your relationship to your mother is, or your relationship to your pet. It's a relationship. So how are you showing up in your relationship? Are you trusting when you do have an intuitive insight? Do you trust it? Or you're like, nah, you're not right. I'm not going to believe you. That's not right. Prove it. You know what I mean? Can you imagine if you had a friend and you were making friends with somebody, you're like supposed to be friends, I guess, or you're partnered with somebody because you can't escape your intuition. It's part of you. And your partner was like, every suggestion you gave to them, it was like, no. Do you know what I'm saying? Or it was like, you'd be like, hey, something really great's coming. And your partner was like, how do you know that? Forget it. You don't know anything. Prove it to me. Where are your stats? You'd be like, what is wrong with this person? Right? You wouldn't want to trust them. You wouldn't want to talk to them. What do you want your relationship to be like with your intuition? Create it. Your intuition grows every time you trust it. But first you got to listen to it, right? First you got to hear it. So we quiet the mind so you can hear the voice a little more. We clear the space so it has a place to show up and speak to you. But now when it does, you got to trust it. So here are some ways that you can work on cultivating the relationship of trust in your intuition. 1, and this is a hard one for me, speak kindly to yourself. I used to have a joke that like when people would say, Megan, oh my God, be kind to yourself. And I'd be like, yeah, but I'm like really good at it. Like I'm really good at being mean to myself, which was, funny for a hot second, but also not, because it's not. They've done some research that your brain does not know the difference between someone else giving you a compliment of kind words versus yourself giving you a compliment. of kind words. So you're your best resource. Love yourself. I know that sounds trite, but find ways to appreciate all the quirky, fabulous, weird, wonderful things that you bring to the table. And every time you're being challenged or learning and growing, compliment yourself on that growth, on that learning process. I mean, growing pains are real, but they're always for the best. That's what I believe. The universe is always pulling us towards the best version of ourselves, even if it feels really gnarly along the way. This one's hard. Keep your word to yourself. And this one's hard for me, particularly ADHD, because I like to do all or nothing. It's something I'm working on and have been for a while, but you have to notice that first. You have to notice you're an all or nothing person. And with that all or nothingness, like, here's the deal. I'll make a promise to myself, like, let's just use like weight loss. Okay. So I've always been very in tune with my body, and this perimenopause is throwing me for a loop. Probably some other things too. But what I will do is I will create a schedule that an Olympian, athlete probably doesn't even have. That's not totally true. But, I will make it so I'm doing all the things, eating absolutely nothing. I will just over commit myself mentally, like a to-do list. And then when I don't want to do it, or B, it's just impossible given the time frame and the energy I have allotted for it, I don't show up for myself. And it's almost like I hear myself saying, listen, you promised yourself. How about this one? Getting up in the morning. Getting up at 5:30 in the morning so I can have peace and sitting there and just meditate, whatever. I was like really proud of myself for like a good year and a half. I had a solid habit of that. I finally was like, yes, trusted myself. But now I'm back in that weird part of the relationship where it's like, you set your alarm for this. You promised yourself you'd get up. And I'd be like, yeah, I know. So it's harder to hear when your relationship is strained. And the relationship strain, specifically this, I use this alarm clock one a lot, is the alarm clock self that sets the alarm. That's your highest good intention self, right? Now, depending on what time you set it might be your over ambitious self, and maybe you have to have a conversation with yourself for that. But the one that pushes snooze, that's your ego. And your ego could also be the one that sets it for 4 a.m., knowing there's no way in hell you're getting up at 4 a.m. So find what works for you in baby little steps. That's hard for an all or nothing person, but the baby little steps will garner trust with your intuitive self, with yourself, so that you'll trust listening a little more. Last but not least, yes, and your intuition. So when you hear something that surprises you, you're like, oh, I've never thought of that. Well, guess what? That's your intuition talking. So listen. And yes, and it, like a nice improv game. So if your intuition says something like, take your umbrella, take your umbrella, take your umbrella. And you're like, why am I thinking that? It's sunny out. There's no way I'm taking the umbrella, right? So instead of saying, no, that's weird. Why would I take my umbrella today? And then later in the day, then when there's a huge storm, you're like, ugh, I told myself to take the umbrella and I didn't listen. Right? So when it says take the umbrella and you think that's odd, so you say, okay, but why? Maybe you hear something. Maybe you just hear again, take the umbrella, or it's going to rain today. Instead of checking the phone, the Weather Channel, GPS, Google, whatever you want to check, trust your intuition. This brings me to something, and the reason I wanted to share this today. Every month with Magnetize Your Light, which is my intuitive coaching company, I do a monthly meetup. And this is kind of an intuitive, creative tune-up, as it were. So we check in, we use the lunar energies for the month as a springboard for our meditation, talk to our intuition, get creative. We doodle, we color, we draw, we answer some journal prompts, we journal, and then we share. Just a little like energetic cup filling. So this last one was on courage. And I've been sitting on this for a minute because, the beautiful thing about asking your intuition is that it doesn't know lies because there's nothing to protect or hide. So when you ask and speak to your intuition, you're just getting pure truth, pure light, pure love, pure connection. So this particular one was on courage. And as an experiment for this particular meetup, we started with what do we think courage means and writing it down or remembering it. And then when we got into our meditative state of release, once we created space and relaxed and allowed that higher vibration to come forward, we asked our intuition, what is courage? And I want to share what I wrote down because it surprised me. That's how you know it's your intuition, because you're like, oh, where did that come from? You know what I mean? And it may be ridiculously vulnerable, which, again, I wasn't expecting. Initially, when I thought of the word courage, I thought it was strength in action, no matter what the consequence. That's kind of where I thought courage was. That was my brain's impression of courage. But my intuition's impression of courage was, this makes me so vulnerable to even say it, trusting in divine guidance. Because a lot of the times when you receive a message from your intuition and it's your intuition and it's very clear, the next step is having the courage to trust it, to act on it, to follow through. In all fairness, timing plays a role, but in that case, you still need to let your intuition know that you hear it. Again, taking it back to the relationship. If you're in a relationship with a friend or a loved one and you make a request to them and they don't do it, you feel unheard, unseen, unknown, you feel rejected, right? But if they hear what you say and they say, I hear you, I'm not quite ready yet, makes a world of difference. So if your intuition offers you something that you are not quite ready yet for, offer back, I hear you. I hear you. I'm not ready yet. I'm asking for strength under divine circumstances, universal harmony and good for the highest good of all. You got to clear your bases there, cover your bases. And I ask for your guidance and support. Now, of course, that sounds all deep, but here's how we throw it into our everyday. You ready? What color shirt am I going to wear today? Which one's right, the left or the right? The blue shirt or the red shirt? And then you kind of weigh it. What feels less cumbersome and energetically? What makes me feel more happy? Go with that. What gives me more joy? Go with that. What feels lighter? Joy has a very light vibration. Go with that. If it feels heavy and dark and full of shoulds, right? And there are shoulds that you have to do, like pay the bills, go to the job, whatever, that don't feel like joy. So how can you find a little joy in each one of those to keep your vibration light, to keep your channel clear and the relationship connected? You don't need to reach outside yourself with the answers. You really don't. Especially now when there's so much information, who knows where it's coming from and why and what agenda might be attached. Clear your lens, raise your vibration, build your relationship of trust, and follow through. Just that simple, right? And play around, make a game out of everything. Why not? It's fun. Okay. That's it for today. All of that to say that your intuition is probably the most accurate GPS you're ever going to have, or the most accurate ChatGPT you're ever going to have. And it's personalized for you and this life and this journey. And by the way, thank you if you're still here, and thank you for listening. I hope you found some nuggets of practical wisdom to take with you today. If you are even more curious and interested in how to solidify this relationship for yourself and make it a lifelong tool that you can access when and wherever, without doubt, with clarity, and find your alignment to your purpose, I would love to invite you to a clarity call. I have a course called Trust Your Spiritual Badass. Yes, it's long, but it does just that. We work on clearing your lens so that you can see your intuition, or through your intuition, connecting to it clearly. We work on creating space so that you can hear. We work on raising your vibration so that you can hear. We work on your relationship to intuition. How is it unique to you? Do you hear things more? Do you see things more? Do you feel things more? How do you connect to your energetic self? And then how do you put that in practice? How do you make that part of your life? That sounds good. You can find me at info@magnetizeyourlight. Reference Trust You, or you can book a clarity call for Trust You on my website, magnetizeyourlight.com. I'd love to hear what tickled you today. I know I keep saying that and I'm like, oh my God, that could get real dark, real blue. Sorry, I shouldn't say that, but whatever. That's how my brain works. I don't mean it like that. I mean, what makes you excited? What makes you tingly and happy? Yep, see, still going down the wrong tube. All right, anyway, at Magnetize Your Light on all socials. Tell me which one resonates most with you. Raising your vibration, calming your chattery mind, or building your relationship of trust to self. Okay, that's it. Have a magical day. And when I say that, when I say make magic today, that's what I mean. It's magic when your intuition and you have a flowing, communicative relationship. When you hear, take the umbrella, and you just say, okay, and you take the umbrella, even though it's like 85 and sunny, and then out of nowhere, the rain comes and you're like, I just made magic. I took my my umbrella and I listened to my intuition. Or someone pops in your head for no reason and you're like, I'm going to reach out to that person. And you make their day and you don't even know it. Just because you yes and ended your intuition. You are magic. Make some magic today. Big buckets of love. I'll see you soon.